Wow, this is high. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Alicia Poon. I'm the acting director of the Indian Arts Research Center. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you for taking the time and the presence of mind to be here with Ian as we celebrate his fellowship this year. So tonight, as I just mentioned, we're here to celebrate the 2019 Ronald and Susan Dubin Native Artist Fellow, Ian Kuali'i. So he's a mid-career artist and a self-taught artist, and Ian got a start within the urban contemporary art community, and he's well known for his hand-cut paperworks. Since moving to Santa Fe just over a year ago as the NEA Fellow at the Institute of American Indian Arts, he has been shifting his practice to include more interactive public art. So when Ian applied for the fellowship at SAR, his goal was to utilize this time to continue to create hand-cut paperworks, as well as large ephemeral site-specific earthworks that would be built directly into the landscape here at SAR. Since arriving on campus, Ian has completed over a dozen new paperworks and several cut paper installations in addition to his earthwork piece, which we are very excited to see documented in some photographs during his presentation tonight. We are going to be so sorry to see Ian go next week, but cry. But he's not leaving us. There will be plenty of opportunities to see him and his work around town in the near future. He has a solo exhibition on view at Hechoa Mano Gallery on Canyon Road until August 25th. So you've got a couple weeks to check that out. And for those of you who will be around for the weekend of Indian Market, which I hope is all of us, you can find Ian at the Ancestral Ink Indigenous Tattoo Symposium on August 18th at the Santa Fe Art Institute, which he has co-organized with Kuaina Associates and Broken Boxes podcast. So please join me in welcoming Ian Kuali'i.
I'm not good at this sort of thing, so definitely came prepared. Oh, we're already there. Aloha kako, greetings everyone. My name is Ian Joseph Kekoa Hardwick Kuali'i, and I want to take this moment to acknowledge that we are presently on the ancestral lands of the Tewa people. I, for one, am completely humbled to have the blessing to heal and create here on these sacred grounds. Beyond grateful. Sorry, I apologize. To begin, I want to share a little bit about myself. I am Kanaka Maoli, Native Hawaiian, and of Mescalero Apache ancestry, a contemporary artist primarily known for my hand-cut paper works. I was born in Southern California and Fullerton, California, and raised back and forth between the island of Maui and California. I spent 10 years in the New York metro area working with the urban contemporary art community, and in the beginning, I was greatly influenced by my experiences in both graffiti and cultural hip hop. I've had some notable mentors, including hip hop pioneer Doze Green of the Rocksteady crew, the San Francisco Bay Area graffiti pioneer Clarence Kuba Robs. Both of these individuals were instrumental in informing my process, in addition to serving as cornerstones for the global graffiti art movement. Wonderful, thank you. Before I get into the work that I created during this residency, I'll go through some images that are representative of my artistic practice at different stages of my career. What you see here are two examples of large-scale direct hand-cut paper work in mural form. I've developed the style and technique in which I draft the image, we paste individual panels up, and cut directly and remove the paper mock-up to reveal the image. I like to describe my cut paper method or practice as destroying to create. The one on the left was created during my residency at the D. Young Museum in 2014 and was completely funded by the museum. The location is a historic billboard on the side of Galleria della Raza, which is a cornerstone for the San Francisco Chicano and Chicana art movement. This project was incredibly important to me because I have a long family history with this billboard. My mentor, Doze Green, painted it back in the 90s, and my stepfather, printmaster Emmanuel Montoya, whose original family to Galleria della Raza and Studio 24, had also previously worked on this billboard with the community. It measures 24 feet in length and 10.5 feet in height. And you could see a gentleman waiting for a bus right there in the corner of 24th and Bryant in the Mission District. So you can sort of gauge the scale of the piece. The second mural on the bottom right, again, using the same techniques, was created with this incredible mural festival in Rochester, New York in 2017, which was organized by Wall Therapy, incredible community-based mural organization. And again, it was doing the same technique, sketching up the design, wheat pasting each of the individual panels up on the wall, and then cutting directly on the wall and extracting the paper from. And you could see me there, like standing there, putting the final coat to protect the piece. This wall was actually the largest hand-cut paper mural that I've done to date, measuring 32 feet in length by 15 feet in height. Unfortunately, this piece didn't last very long due to the weather conditions in Rochester, New York. As we know, thanks Great Lakes. I do wish to create more of these large-scale cut paper murals, so if you have wall space or the budget, please contact me. Wrong way. Yes. This next slide features a small selection of shows that I've participated in. I was invited to participate in a specially curated project with the Urban Art Fair moniker on Brick Lane in London, UK. This was in 2017. The image to the left, you could see the work I created, which are hand-cut paper Kuali'i genealogical chant portions. The chant is enormous. I believe it's actually the largest chant in out of all of Hawaiian chants. Any historian can correct me if I'm wrong. I would greatly like that. Anyway, each banner measures 16.5 feet in height by 5 feet wide. I created 3 in total, tiny portion of the chant. I also created 3 3-foot by 3-foot hand-cut paper portraits, which are not on view here. 12 hand-cut paper journal entries, which are not on view as well. Several medium-sized portraits. 132 of my Afterlife spray cans, which are recycled spray cans that I find from areas cleaning up in the environment, typically around halls of fame for graffiti writers. With this amount of work, I was fortunate enough to receive a sponsorship from Innova Fine Arts Paper for complete production of this special project. The next photo, I was invited in 2017 to participate in the Urban Art Biennale and at the UNESCO World Heritage Site Volklinger Ironworks in Volklingen, Germany. For the exhibition, I was fortunate enough to be curated alongside 2 pioneering street artists, Banksy from Bristol, UK, and Blek Lerat from Paris, France. I'd worked with Blek Lerat before in New York when he was exhibiting alongside my mentor, Doze Green. He needed someone to go out with him and scout illegal wheat pasting locations around the neighborhood of Chelsea. Afterward, he was gracious enough to gift me 2 original pieces of his for my personal collection. It was a huge honor to exhibit alongside both of these incredible pioneers of the street art movement. And since this is on Facebook Live, I actually want to take a moment to shout out my whole global art family who have carried me and supported me throughout this long artistic journey. Literally so many names that the whole 45 minutes would be over, just shouting out names. But I love you all so much, and I'm extremely grateful that all of you are in my life. Wrong way again. Curse of being a lefty. This next image gives you a better sense of the evolution of my portrait work. On the left is a photo of a 6 foot by 4 foot hand-cut paper piece for the incredible Broken Boxes group exhibition at Form and Concept in 2017, which featured the works of some of the contemporary indigenous arts movement folks that are on the forefront, and our allies. The portrait is of Kumuhina, beloved Mahu, Kanaka Maoli Chinese cultural practitioner. Flanking the portrait are several symbols representing mountains, as well as some lyrics from a mele, or song, that Kumuhina composed to empower our people in what I believe was 2015. I created this piece to honor them and the work that they have done to protect our sacred mountain and perpetuate our culture, and still to this day stand in prayer and kapu aloha for our ancestral mountain, the pico of our people. In the center, you'll see Kumuhina, but scaled down and placed illegally in the streets of New York City. These works were part of Art and Ad Places 2017, which the roster was incredible. Other individuals, Dubin fellow, former Dubin fellow, Jeffrey Gibson was actually part of this project as well. And these works were curated by a gentleman named R.J. Rushmore and his partner, Caroline Caldwell. These pieces are super important because they expand the visibility and struggles of Native Hawaiians and trans people in the community, which are still very much struggles to this day. The other portrait on the right I created to honor Auntie Pua Case, who is a Kanaka Maoli Native Hawaiian cultural practitioner and resistance organizer. There are two different versions of this piece, actually. Both are 3 foot by 3 foot. One was created live for an auction that Honor the Earth put together in conjunction with the Broken Boxes exhibition. That one I ended up gifting to Ginger from Broken Boxes, and the one that you see here now, which was purchased at auction, is in the collection of Kim Smith of Indigenous Goddess Gang and has been exhibited in the Art of Indigenous Resistance, which is a traveling exhibition. And yes, these are all hand-cut paper. The next slide shows the project that brought me to Santa Fe, which was born out of my experience as the first ever National Endowment for the Arts Fellow at IAIA in 2018. The fellowship provided opportunities for me to study new technology for creation. It provided a space for healing, and all signs seem to be pointing this way to Santa Fe, Oge Poge Owenge. So now I'm here and creating. In this slide, you'll see a mural that I painted in the Allen Hauser Art Park at the Museum of Contemporary Native Art. After I made it, while I was creating it, the very tail end, a very famous Kumu who is no longer with us, Kumu John Lake, one of his final apprentices, actually happened to be at Mokna and ended up coming to the back and chanting on behalf of this piece, which was incredible. And they actually closed off the back area and wouldn't allow anybody in. And yeah, anyway. Yeah, sorry. Drink a little bit of water. For this mural, I had the intention of bringing forth Kanaka Maoli ancestral deities known as Amakua. Within is embedded veiled phrasing in Olelo Hawaii, or the Hawaiian language, with the intention to evoke Amakua and repel negative projection. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner of the slide, the original sketch was actually a hand-cut paper piece. And it was scaled up and painted, opposed to using my cut paper method of mural making, increasing the lifespan. I was fortunate enough to have this mural on the wall for an entire year, and many of you have probably seen it. I don't know if you're walking on San Francisco and passed by the gate. Currently, Lynette Houses is painting a mural on the wall to coincide with the reconciliation exhibition at Mokna. And if you have an opportunity, stop by and show her some support. That would be, it's always helpful. I wear a lot of black. In this slide, I've included the image of the first piece, which is I've been experimenting with the halftone process. This piece is called Three Sisters No. 1. It's 13 inches by 19 inches, and is one of 3 hand-cut paper pieces that were commissioned by a Hawaii Aloha Aina environmentalist named Lacey Matsumoto. She lives in both Oahu and the Big Island of Hawaii. This first one is the one I've completed in the series, and the other 2 will be finished in the near future. Lacey does important work and brings awareness to the decline of one of our beloved trees, the ohia. She has a project called Ohia Love Project, dealing with the decline of the tree. This particular tree is actually spoken in a lot of our chants and stories, and if you spent time in Hawaii, you're probably aware of the red or yellow blossoms that bloom from the ohia. I was fortunate enough to have this portrait selected, the most recent cover of Pasatiempo. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay. I apologize. It's currently in newsstands, so if you haven't had the opportunity to pick up a copy, please. This feature is incredible and timely because it, again, brings visibility to the current issues and struggles facing our people and the protection of our sacred mountain, Mana'awakea, or Mauna Kea, on our own ancestral lands. That's that guy right there. That's me with Frank Rose. This has been a very busy summer for me. In addition to the residency here at SAR, I had my debut solo exhibition here in Santa Fe at Echo Amano Gallery on Canyon Road. This is me with the owner, Frank Rose. Incredible gallery owner, curator, and host of podcast Creative Excuse, which you should all listen to. He's the former director of Form and Concept. He was the former director of Form and Concept before venturing out and starting his own gallery. And I met him through the Broken Boxes exhibition. So 2 years now? 2 years now, right? A little bit over 2 years? Anyway, so it comes back full circle. He and I corresponded over some time, and I was honored when he invited me to participate in a wonderful solo exhibition at his gallery. I created 13 new hand-cut paper pieces for the show, so most of the works that I completed during my tenure here on campus are currently on display at Echo Amano, which is located directly across the street from the Tea House on Canyon Road. And I hope you can all make it over at some point to check out the exhibition. It'll be up till August 25th. I'm extremely happy of this body of work that I created for my first solo exhibition here in Santa Fe. Extremely grateful again, Frank. Thank you. now I'll give you an exclusive look at some of the works in the show. This is a series of hand-cut images of various representations of Ku, who is one of 4 of our major deities in Hawaii. The darker portions where the paper are where the paper had been cut and removed. And I felt the need to complete this works, to both pay respects to Ku, as well as the current gathering of Kanaka who are protecting our sacred mountain, Mauna Wakea, during Ku season. Ku season is 9 months out of the year. And Lono season begins at the first sighting of the Seven Sisters constellation in the sky. These representations are based on images from the Ku Akua Hulu Manu, which are held in private and museum collections around the globe. Our people don't have immediate access to them, and they are living objects and require observation of protocol and ceremony. The Kua Hulu Manu are woven and covered in tight bundles of bird feathers, pretty similar to the colors that you see here on my lei, which is all feather as well. Most of these birds are extinct birds that were endemic to Hawaii. The teeth are usually dog teeth or human teeth. The eyes are typically mother of pearl, or often black pearl or lava stone for pupils. And many include human hair, which you can see in numbers 2, 4, and 5. And I got this magnificent laser. Hair, and hair. In this slide, there are 2 of the 4 smaller works that I created for the exhibition. For these pieces, I utilized the simplicity of pattern as meaning, as well as veiled words. Veiled words that you've seen in like some of the other pieces earlier today. Most of the words are in Hawaiian, and I'll let you do your own research, but most of these words involve intention of forgiveness or combating negative projection, paying tribute to good deeds, kindness. In some cases, they speak to like genealogy or specific places. I enjoy the smaller works because it allows individuals who don't have a whole lot of money in their pocketbooks that, you know, wish to own an original piece of work of mine, to have access to them. You can also see the back side of these pieces are painted to create an illuminated effect once they're up against the wall. I use this technique also on the next 2 works. These works also utilize the halftone technique, which is a style I've been, doing a lot of recently, and really differ from the technique that I used in the first few portraits, including the murals. And they show where I'm at presently today with my process and technique. The portrait on the left is Mana Wahine number 2, Havani, 19 inches by 24 inches. Havani is firmly rooted in Pule, Oli, and Mele. Havani is a spiritual conduit, helping galvanize the Lahui, standing to protect sacred Mauna Wakea, and also builds bridges between other indigenous nations in support of their struggles for self-determination. She is also Auntie Puakese's daughter. The second portrait, Mana Wahine number 1, Malia, is also 19 by 24, hand-cut paper. And I chose to depict Malia in this portrait because regardless if she's protecting our sacred mountain, Mauna Wakea, or being the first on the front lines to be arrested at Standing Rock, working towards stopping the Line 3 pipeline, or standing in solidarity of the oppressed peoples of Palestine, Malia always shines as a pillar of what is Pono, righteous, and illuminates as a solid example of what mana and kuleana, or responsibility, are. I don't want to go too deeply into what the patterns symbolize or mean, but I do want to mention that I absolutely love and respect and honor what these women do and continue to do. This is a larger half-tone cut paper portrait, which measures 3 foot by 3 foot, roughly. Uncle Billy Freitas, who was one of our many kupuna, or elders, who were arrested protecting our sacred mauna. At this very moment, he's standing tall at the base of the sacred mountain of our creation story, as a beacon for all generations, current and future. There's also been a lot of coverage recently of celebrities who have gone to visit Mauna Kea. And there's an incredible photo of Bob Marley's son, Damian Marley, and Uncle Billy Freitas sharing a honi, which is a traditional method of greeting where we share ha, the breath of life. Beautiful, beautiful photo. So I wanted to create this piece to honor Uncle Billy Freitas. Although my solo exhibition kept me busy, I found some time to complete a few other works. These 2 commissions I completed for Ronald and Susan Dubin. Susan is here in the front row. These works are very important to me because I wanted to show the gratitude and incredible individuals for their continued support of Native artists at SAR. Thank you very much. And I'm also open to commissions if any of you are interested. I'll finish up my talk about digging into these earthworks that I've been doing, sort of indicative of the direction that I'm heading currently. For many years prior to moving to Santa Fe, I had been wanting to move in this direction of reverence and honesty, creation on and with the land. And after a series of conversations over the phone with Chinupahan Ska Luger, it turns out that we both had similar thoughts and feelings on shifting our practice in these directions. Art as ceremony or ritual, deep reverence, and land as audience. This particular piece came about because I moved to Santa Fe from an area where there is an abundance of fresh and salt water. And walking through the high desert made me miss the proximity to water. This piece measures roughly about 65 feet in length by 30 feet wide. It was made up completely of organic river debris and about 2,000 pounds of river rock. All hand lifted, no assistance. Yeah, this piece was completely ephemeral. It was a prayer for rain, and eventually the rain washed it away. This piece was also the precedent for the earthworks that I created during my residency here at SAR, which is featured in, the piece in this next slide. Tethered, this collaboration with Chinupahan Ska Luger was a site-specific land acknowledgement, healing action, and indigenous seed dispersal at the Leonora Curtin wetlands, in conjunction with Axel Contemporary and the Santa Fe Botanical Gardens. At the very end of this piece, we placed some unfired clay pieces created by the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum youth project that Chinupa was spearheading, or just did a project with, and we filled the center of the rings with those unfired clay pieces as offerings, and they were also embedded with indigenous seed from the region. I can't go into too much detail about this because, again, it's like works as ceremony, art as ceremony. This piece was very important to me because it was very healing, and it came about at a point in my life where I needed this ceremony. So I deeply thank Chinupa, Axel Contemporary, and the Santa Fe Botanical Gardens for allowing me to be involved. All of the stills and aerial shots were shot by Dylan McLaughlin, who's also part of our creative art family. Currently has a show at Ellsworth Gallery? Yeah. Solo exhibition at Ellsworth. Now moving back into the work I created during my residency. These are some of the progress shots from the earthworks I created here on campus. Again, I can't go into too much detail about it because it's art as ceremony, and they are completely ephemeral, but all of this is organic debris from the area, and then also stone from the area as well. As I create these pieces, I also do a pretty extensive cleanup process when I come across human waste. It's part of the beautiful healing. I also don't remove any of the foliage or life from the area as well as creating these, while I'm creating these. Here's one of the works. I will not speak the Hawaiian title of the piece, but you are more than welcome again to do your research if you wish to know what that means. So you can pull out your smartphone now and take a snapshot. This piece here measures 30 feet in diameter, and again is completely ephemeral. And it is on the, trying to get my bearings here. Yes, close to Garcia in the undeveloped region of the campus here, within their, I believe, 8 acres of undeveloped. Yeah. This is the second earthworks I created. Yeah, again, you could see both of them have Hawaiian titles. This one measures 20 feet by 12 feet. So yeah. This one is a bit further back behind the billiards house. I'm not sure what the liability policies are here, if you're able to go out and seek them, but it gets a bit treacherous out there. I would recommend not. This is also ephemeral, meant to return to the earth as Mother Nature feels fit, or nature feels fit. Before I wrap up, I just want to take this moment to plug Ancestral Inc., Indigenous Tattoo Symposium, which is the first event of its kind to take place during Indian Market Weekend here in Santa Fe. This event was produced by Kuali'i and Associates, Broken Boxes Podcast. It's free and open to the public. We have an incredible roster of traditional indigenous tattoo practitioners visiting, some from the South Pacific, some from Canada. Yes, I would love to see you there, August 18th, 2019, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Graciously hosted by Santa Fe Art Institute. Also keep your eyes and ears out for upcoming projects, which include a group exhibition in Chicago in September, a special project with the Smithsonian NMAI in Lenapehoking, NYC in October, a possible group exhibition with the Heard Museum in 2020, and a couple of top secret projects in 2020 as well. One of them is ridiculous, and so please give me a follow on Instagram or any social media and stay, updated with all of that. That's basically all I really have for you tonight. So like, thank you for coming out. And again, I apologize. I'm not good at this sort of thing. So, fumbling around is, I guess, expected. But this artist talk, I want to say, is dedicated to the people around the globe standing in Kapu Aloha on behalf of our sacred mountain. So kukia'i mauna, and mahalo everybody for joining us. And the open studio in what, half an hour? Now? Right now. Now. Thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah, sure, we could do questions, unless they involve talking too much about the earthworks. Please. I was at Standing Rock, but I didn't stay for the long haul. I went up there with 3 generations of females from my family, and one of them was my daughter, who was only 2 years of age at the time. So we had to leave before winter. Right. I believe that was the silk screening camp at Red Warrior Camp, and I forget exactly who it was that was. Pardon? Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah. But I wasn't part of that group. Yes. Around the globe, as well as in museums. They aren't accessible to our people to observe protocol and ceremony, because they typically rest in archives and private collections.
Is there any kind of effort to?
There has been talks of like repatriation, and in some cases, some of our living objects have returned home. I forget the name of the museum in Aotearoa in New Zealand. We received our royal cape from Kalaniʻopuʻu. They actually returned that piece to us. So these things do happen, and I believe over time more of it will. Yes, sir.
Were you here for the folk art market?
I was.
Did you see the Peruvian girl from the wet side of the Andes, from the tribe? Her face was completely tattooed. It was quite striking. It was beautiful. I could send you a slide of it.
Please, that would be beautiful. Mm-hmm. It was I don't know, it was the first time I attended the folk art market, and I'm not sure if I'll be doing that again. All right. It's a lot to take in, a lot of beauty, a lot of individuals, not a whole lot of space to move, and the monsoon just loves that art fair apparently. So, right. Thank you. No, seriously, I will take that with me and hold it dearly and analyze the live feed, and hopefully next time will be better. Yes, sir.
When you're cutting paper off a particular, like you had a number of different surfaces that you were cutting it on, you said the paper is on the surface as you're cutting it off, you put it up and then cut it off?
I don't cut flat. I cut up against a wall, so that way I could step back and actually see the piece. If I'm working large scale, it doesn't give me the opportunity unless I'm standing on a ladder to see what I'm working on.
And has it actually been attached to the wall when you're cutting it?
The mural pieces were actually attached to the wall, and I created a technique of essentially just resaturating what I wheat paste up and then extracting, and doing the. Oh, it's firmly attached. It's just what I do is I go through after with my X-Acto blade, just a standard number 11 X-Acto blade as well, and then whatever I've drafted up, I just remove, I cut, and then I resaturate, and then I remove.
What are you using to adhere the wheat paste? Is it a secret?
It's just your standard wallpaper paste. So anything from Golden Harvest. There's also a pre-mixed one that you can purchase at like Home Depot. I believe it's by Golden Harvest as well. And so it's just like, your typical ratio of water to powder, unless it's the pre-mixed stuff. And then,
Where does Apache show up in your life?
where does Apache show up in my life? I am of Apache ancestry, but I identify because I was raised more so in my Hawaiian traditions as Hawaiian. So I feel like for me to go in and become super Apache would be completely irresponsible,
There's some DNA that's got to be showing up somewhere.
It does, and I think being here in Santa Fe and being within closer proximity of Mescalero and being able to walk the grounds that some of my relatives walked, as part of that journey. And it'll show up more in my works later works. Yeah, we good? Yeah.
So I just want to thank Ian again for being our fellow, and I want to thank Ron and Susie Dubin for making this fellowship possible. I hope you'll join us over in the studio. We're going to start walking over there, so you can just follow us. Thank you.
What's that?